So hello everyone, my name is Jorge Mayorga. I am a customer success manager here at Researchfish. Today's session will be a refresher webinar for anyone who has already used the Researchfish platform in the past but would like to know a little bit more about some of the functionalities that we have available, or just to refresh on the actions that can be performed. And also it will help introduce anyone who's new to the Researchfish platform from a funder admin perspective. On this. There will definitely be time for questions at the end, but also feel free to just pop them in the chat at any time, or to unmute yourselves if you got any questions. So you can just let me know about that. But okay, so for today's agenda, I'm just going to confirm the dates for the 2026 UK multi-funder submission period. If you are aligning, and you will be aligning to it. Then I got a couple of slides related to the submission period prep, which is the submission period life cycle, and just essentially everything that you need to know for in-platform submission period setup, and a submission period prep checklist, which I'll make sure that you either receive a copy of this recording or a link for this copy to be made available to you, and also the checklist for preparing for your submission period. And last but not least, I will navigate the platform. So the submission period dates for the UK have been confirmed to run from the 2nd of February till the 12th of March of 2026. So in case you weren't already familiar with this, and if your organization does align to the UK multi-funder submission period, this is the confirmation of when the submission period will run. Moving on, we'll be talking about the submission period prep, and just a little bit of an introduction as to what the submission period lifecycle looks like, and the things that we'll be talking about today. And so first thing that we'll be exploring and navigating today is to know how to create awards and refresh your data in the platform, for which you can use the RHT to add or edit awards in bulk. If you got a handful of awards that need some adding or editing in the platform, but you can also do this manually on the front end of the platform. I'll show you both ways of doing this a little later in the webinar today. But yeah, just bear in mind that this is potentially the first thing that is most important to take into consideration when preparing for the submission period. Second thing, which can actually be done simultaneously as you are working on your RHTs, to create a submission period within Researchfish, so that you just have to add and assign the awards to the submission period once it's created, and once the RHT has been successfully uploaded with the data on the awards to be included. I'm not going to specifically talk through the introductory email that can be sent to PIs, but if you would like to have a little bit more of a discussion, or for me to follow up via email with you on the communication templates that we have available for you to reach out to your PIs, specifically the new PIs that will be using Researchfish potentially for the first time, or that might need a refresher about why you're using Researchfish to collect their data, that can also be done simultaneously as you're working on adding the information to Researchfish. Once you have successfully uploaded the RHT, as I've explained earlier, you can assign awards on any additional questions, if applicable, to the corresponding submission window, which can be done on the front end of the platform, and I will also be covering that today. One last thing before the start of the submission period is to send out the system-generated invitations, which I will also show you how to do a little later in the webinar. And Again, I'm not going to specifically cover any communications related to the opening of the submission period, but we've also got communication templates available for you if you need to use them to let your researchers know that the submission period has now opened. One other thing that I'll be covering today regarding the submission period lifecycle is how to track compliance in the platform. There are different ways of doing so, which can be done by using the activity tab or downloading an RHT, which I will also show you later today how to do that. Again, not specifically showing communications, but we can also share with you some communication templates in order to reach out to your PIs if you don't have them already, to encourage them to submit during the submission period. And last but not least, how to export data from the Researchfish platform so that you can use it for your post-submission period analysis, and to use that information to basically inform your decisions, your research strategies, etc., etc. So I've basically built this checklist, which I'll be more than happy to share with you. But just to bear in mind, it's formatted in a question format. So just to make sure that your RHC has either been uploaded or that you have manually added or edited any awards that need addition. Are your organization details up to date, which I will also show how to check in the platform if they are correct, and how to change those as well if they need updating. Have you created your submission period yet? Have you sent out the warm-up communications? Have you assigned the awards to the submission period? And have you sent out your invitations to PIs? Do we have any questions so far at the moment? Just before I move on to the next section of the webinar. Nope. Perfect. Okay. Cool. So navigating Researchfish. One thing that I would like to mention before I start, if this is anyone's first time using the platform, is that Researchfish is a platform which you can only gain access by invitation. So you must have been sent an invitation by someone from your organization to your email so that you can set up your account. And basically, this is the email that you'll be looking at, basically saying that you have been given access to administrate Researchfish on behalf of your organization, which in this case, it's a mock organization called Interfolio Foundation. And basically, you'd have to click on the link to activate your account. Once you click on that link, it will take you to the Researchfish platform, where you'll be able to create your account by creating your credentials. I do recommend that you set up your Researchfish account with an email that you know that you will always have access to in case you need to reset a password, or essentially any type of support that you might need, that you will be able to verify your identity and access the information. So that's it for the slides that I have prepared for today, and we will now proceed to me demonstrating the platform. So I'm just going to stop sharing this bit. And I will now share my screen. Great. Can I just confirm that you can all see my screen? If you can use any of the React buttons, or just type in chat that you can see. Perfect. Fantastic. I see a couple of thumbs up there. Fantastic. Right. So once you've already gained access to the Researchfish platform, and this is a default landing page that we have for everybody, is the landing page which says My Awards. So you may not necessarily be responsible for an award, or you may be responsible for an award, which very likely will be a test award. In case you've had some conversations with us in the past, or if anyone else from your organization wants you to start using the Researchfish platform, it's a really good way to start getting the hang of it just by having a test account. So I'm not going to spend too much time in the award details page, but just to cover some basic aspects of navigation. On the left-hand side, we've got different sections that will be useful, and depending on where we are on the submission period lifecycle, you'll be able to know exactly what it is that needs to be done. So in this specific area, though, this are some of the tabs that we've got available for you to basically do any changes to your account. The knowledge base, which essentially is where most of our support resources are based, and if not, the knowledge base, the help button over here. The our community page, which essentially shows the contact details for anyone, and I'll be clicking on that a little bit later just to show you what it looks like, and your downloads tab. So any downloads that you do in the platform, they'll be showing in there. And then the what's new has information related to our releases. So the first point or the first step in the submission period lifecycle is to create awards or refresh your data. And like I've explained, there's two different ways to go about this. So the first one, which is the bulk uploading of the awards, is sitting here where it says uploads beta. If you click on award details RHT uploader, it will take you to the page in which you can download the template, which already includes information on your awards, or you can download a blank template. The difference between the two is that you can use the blank template if you wish to add any new awards and you're not planning on doing any additions to current awards, or if the additions that you want to do to current awards are only a handful, say like maybe from 2 to 5, which you can definitely do them manually. But if you're going to be doing a bulk edition of awards, would definitely recommend downloading the template, which includes the award. So once you click on any of this, they'll be queued and they'll be showing later in the downloads tab over here, which these have already been downloaded, but I'm just going to get back here to the award details RHT uploader. Once you're done filling in the RHT, which I will be showing you in a second exactly how it looks like, you just simply have to upload it. And once it is uploaded, it will be checked by your system. You will receive a notification on your email that your RHT has either been queued and it's being processed, or if it fails validation, you will also receive an email explaining what the where the failure is. So I'm just going to show you first an empty RHT. So basically, as you can see here, and one thing I would recommend is not modifying the format of the RHT or the spreadsheet. But basically, there are some fields that you can or you should ignore because these will be automatically generated by the platform. There are some other that will be mandatory, such as explaining who the funder is, the award reference, and then we got some optional fields as well. So for example, in this over here, we got funder categories, which I will also explain what these are a little bit later. So this is what a empty RHT looks like. And we also got another tab with the field descriptions, basically giving you instructions as to what should go where, and essentially what is the information that we're expecting for you to input in the cell. So I'm gonna go over and show you an RHT, which for the purpose of this webinar, some of the information has been anonymized, and some of this information is also mock information. So our university and non-university of Buckminster are fictional institutions, and as you can see here, the award references and the title of the awards are just mock awards. But basically, as you can see here, the information has already been added. This is what it looks like whenever you download an RHC that already has award details. So award references, these are basically identifiers that you use to know which award you're speaking about. You normally have this or share this with the PIs, which will make it also easier for PIs to locate their awards in the platform in case they need any support with the resending of the invitations, or if they contact support about any specific awards, etc., etc. This is a very important award reference to have. Same as with a PI ID, which you can also create response codes as well, which is an important bit to consider. In Researchfish, we got 5 response codes. Response code 1 means that the researcher is required to submit within the submission period that they have been assigned to. As response code 2 means that they're not required to submit for that specific year. So that might be because they are on sabbatical leave, maternity leave, etc., etc. A response code 3 means that the award has it's more than 5 years old, so you're not expecting any submissions any longer from them. Response code 4 means that the PI has switched institutions, so that means that they are still required to submit back to you, but the compliance numbers won't necessarily affect the old organization that they belong to. And a response code 5 just means that it is not mandatory for them to submit, but it's optional for them. And yeah, as you can see here, basically this is how you'll be inputting the information in the RHT. As I've explained before, once you have finished adding or editing in bulk the award information, you simply have to go to the platform, choose the file, and then upload it. A couple things I would like to mention, which are common errors that usually bounce back the RHTs, is the format of dates whenever you're filling them in. This is the recommended format, which is year, month, and date. Please make sure whenever you're uploading the RHT that that your dates format are shown like this, because otherwise it will bounce back for validation. And one other thing that I would recommend bearing in mind is that the maximum file name length is of 50 characters. So yeah, just try to be mindful of that. Those are potentially the two most popular reasons as to why RHTs fail validation. Have we got any questions so far? I'm just gonna check in the chat if there are any questions. Looks like we don't have any just yet. Perfect. And obviously, if you want me to go back to anything that I've already explained, do let me know about that. The next thing I'm gonna show you is how to create a submission period. So if you go to submission management, click on active submission period. You'll already be looking at any current submission period. So the one that we've got at this Interfolio Foundation is an indefinite one from the 11th of June of 2018 till the 11th of June of 2029. So if you wanted to create a new submission period, simply click on add a new submission period. To submission period for March 2026, click on start date and the end date. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to use the ones for the sorry, for the UK multi-funder submission period. So there's 3 different things that you can do now. One is to add all awards to the submission period now. So if you do want to request all of the awards that you have in Researchfish to report back to you on this specific submission period, this is the button that the box that you have to tick, and then click on save. If you do not wish to do that, which we recommend being more selective about which awards you want to add to your submission period, you can click on save and add awards, which will take you to the awards tab, which I'll be showing later today. And then you can perform in a bulk action the addition of or the assigning of a submission period to the awards. If you wish to create the submission period but assign the awards later, you can just click on save, which will save the submission period in the platform, and then you'll be able to add them to them. So I'm just going to click on save right now to create the submission period. As you can see, it has been created. You can see the start date, you can see the end date, and now you can see the current status of it. If you wished to edit the end date of the submission period, you simply have to click on the end date and then just modify the end date. So here, we could do it till the 16th of March. Click save, and that's pretty much it. The next thing that you would do once you have already uploaded your RHD, once you've already created the submission period, and once you've already reached out to your PIs from your funder's email domain introducing what Researchfish is, you would go to the awards tab to assign awards to that submission period. So in the awards tab over here, you can basically type in these 2 research boxes by either award reference or by either PI, which in this case, if I look up myself, I'll be able to see both of my accounts over here, my test accounts, and in the awards over here, you can just search by award reference. You can also filter by different locations and institutions. So if let's type in, you can start seeing the list of different locations that we've got. So for the purpose of this webinar, I'm just going to click on Show Awards. There you go. And you'll be able to look at the awards essentially that you wish to perform any actions on them. I'm just going to do myself now. Show awards. There we go. So as you can see here, I got a couple of test awards here that you can only perform action on one of them because the Interfollow Foundation is the lead funder of this award. So I can also do manual editing of this award, or you can, if you are a co-funder, meaning that someone else, it's a lead funder for that award, you can only be able to view the information on the award on the front end of the platform by clicking on the view button, which will take you to the award details of that award, in which you'll be able to see the publications and everything else. Sorry, let's get back to the awards. Let's take a look at myself. Maybe the other one. Yeah. So we got a couple of test awards over here. If you wish to add them to a submission period, you'll simply have to tick on the boxes over here, click on the action box here, assign submission period, and we will just add them to the one that we just created, which is submission period Feb March 2026, and click on save. As you can see now, my request has been queued, and I'll be notified when it's done. Okay. So these awards have already been added to to that submission period. Next thing to do is to send out the invitation to the PI, which in this case would be myself, so that they can look at their awards in their platform. So one other way in which you can do this is by clicking on the tick boxes over here, click on send invitation, and then hit on save. It will take you to the template that we have for sending out the invitations. And if you are happy with what we are including in the email template, which you can also edit yourself, you'll simply have to click on send for it to accept the invitation. Perfect. So that is pretty much it in terms of setting up a submission period and adding awards to a submission period. If you are a funder that uses additional questions, one of the things that we recommend is checking a couple of things on your additional questions. So if you go to section management and click on sections, it will take you to the additional questions that are available in Researchfish, in this specific case being the patient and public involvement. So a couple of things to check is whether the section is enabled for the PIs that need to report back on them. Is the information uh, being shared and visible for research organizations? So that meaning the universities where the research is conducted. Is the section required in order to complete the submission? So whenever a researcher is about to submit their award to Researchfish, if this section is required to complete the submission, they won't be able to finish any of their submissions specifically related to a funder unless the additional question section has already been responded. If you say that it's not required, then there won't be any validation against the additional question, and then researchers will be able to just submit their awards without there's no without this validation being required. And one last thing is checking on the clearing policy associated with the section. So we got 3 different options for you to choose, which is required on the first submission and then make it optional for any other submission periods that may follow. The other one is that is required on the first submission, and then you're just asking your researchers to confirm or update any subsequent on any subsequent submission periods whether the information is still accurate, complete, and up to date. And one other thing is to require to complete in full every submission period. So depending on how you go about this, you basically select the clearing policy for your additional questions. One other thing that you can do when prepping for your submission period, which is also optional, is to create categories. Categories are essentially labels that we've got in place in Researchfish for you to basically be able to filter or slice some of the awards that you have. So in this case, the the examples that we got is color 1 or color 2, but depending on the type of data that you handle, you could divide them, say, in types of research. You could divide in types of disease as well. If you are like a medical charity, et cetera, et cetera. It's up to you. And you can create as many categories as you want. And in order to assign a category to an award, let's do myself again. Simply go to the award section. And then just add it to the create category. So that's pretty much it in terms of bulk actions. If you wish to add or edit a new award manually to platform, let me just get rid of this. Whenever you go to the award section, and let me show it again as a clean slate, you'll simply have to click on add a new award. And here you'll have to type in the details for the award. The mandatory ones, of course, and then any of the optional ones. Feel free to type it in as needed. If you are going to enter a new PI, what you have to do is to create the PI ID, the title, initial, surname, email, and then you can just send out the invitation for that one. About the response codes that I've explained before, we got some guidelines over here. In case you ever need to remind yourselves of what each of the response codes mean, this is where it would be available for you to check on those. So let's get back to awards again, and let's do myself one more time. I'm just gonna check in the chat if we've got any questions so far. Nope. Perfect. Right. So in order to do any manual additions, simply go to the award that you wish to edit and click on the edit button. And as you can see, you can basically select here what all the information that needs to be updated can be filled in. And then once you're done, you'll simply click on update, and then the information will be updated. So yeah, that is pretty much it in terms of setting up for the submission period. So we've covered already how to create awards both in manually and in bulk, how to create submission period and how to assign those awards to a submission period, how to send out the invitation, and I've also talked to you about assigning additional questions or creating additional questions, and whether they are required, if they're enabled, and if they are and the clearing policy for each of those additional questions. One thing that I will now talk about is basically some housekeeping in terms of the information that is available to your researchers and researchers, which is also good to be mindful about when you're setting up for your submission period. So one of the things that I recommend doing is going to our community page. Basically look for yourself. So let's look for the Interfolio Foundation or St. Francis Trust for that matter, which neither are showing in here. Oh, interesting. Apologies for that, but what I can do to show you this, let me just check again. Um, right now, let's pivot real quick into organization details. So if you click on the organization details tab, um, here you'll be able to look at the currently used logo by the by your organization, which in this case is the Interfolio Foundation. Here you'll be able to type in the terms and conditions, which is essentially one of the things whenever a PI is submitting an award. Um, um, One of the things that we ask them to confirm is that they accept the terms and conditions that you have set up with them, which basically is letting them know what you're using the data that they are reporting back to you for. Um, you can also edit the organization currency, the description, which is basically like an overview of what the organization is. You can type in the organization website. And one thing that I would recommend is checking what is input in the website contact details. The reason why I mentioned this is because although while here, you'll be able to fill in the primary contact details, which will allow anyone from Researchfish to contact you for anything that is related to the platform. It is the website contact details in which you'll be able to look at the information that researchers would be looking at. So if a researcher needed to get in touch with you um, for whatever reason, this will allow other research funding organizations, research organizations, and PIs basically to be able to contact you. Right. One other thing is if you are not going to be the only admin funder user in Researchfish, you can click on the user accounts tab, which will allow you to add new administrator over here. And you simply have to type in the name, the email address, and then decide what role you will allow them to have. It basically it just means to the credentials that they have. So full access basically gives them access to all of the tabs that we've got on the left-hand side of the screen. Read-only access would only allow them to be able to look at the information and not make any changes or additions. One other thing that I would like to point out here is that if anyone is going to be helping you with the RHT uploading, they must have upload access for it to be able to for them to be able to access the RHT uploader. Otherwise, they won't have access to it, and they won't be able to help you with uploading the RHT. Right. So, like I said, that is pretty much everything in terms of preparing and getting ready for the submission period life cycle. When you are already on where you already have a submission period that is active, the next thing to do would be to track compliance. So there's essentially three different ways in which you can go about this, and each of them have different levels of depth. So the first one would be the activity tab over here. So in the activity tab, you are basically looking two different types of information, which is the attribution activity and the submission activity. The reason why I make the distinction between the two is because attributions are not submissions in the sense that an attribution is anything that a PI or a researcher links to the award saying, oh, this publication emanated from the funding that I received for this research. So this is me basically linking those two. Whereas a submission is whenever a researcher is ready to let their funder know that they've finished attributing and linking all the outcome types to their awards, they simply click on the submit button, which basically means that they're signing off that data as the most recently the most up-to-date, complete, and accurate information So this is one of the ways in which you can track compliance in that sense. So some of the boxes that you have over here is that you can see that how many awards are in submission, which in this case is 69, and how many of those awards have submitted, which are none. So you got a 0% um, compliance rate at this point in time. You can also track activity across the different outcome types that we got. So let's do publications. And let's do response codes 1 and 5. And yeah, let's leave it in that date range. So you can see the information has already changed here from 69 awards, sorry, in submission to 71 awards in submission, but still no submissions done. And you can see the person submitted here with 2 attributions done to 2 awards. Another thing that you can do is to change the time filter over here. So you can look at the last 7 days. You can look at the last 31 days this month, which would be the 12 days November, previous month, etc., etc. And you can also subscribe to receive regular updates on or a digest of the activity that has been taking place from your researchers. So this is pretty much your entry level in a way to check on the activity that has been going on with your researchers in order to get back to them and to make sure that they are compliant with their submissions. So once you've already seen this, there are 2 ways in which you can go about this to reach out to your PIs. If you wish to do it on the front of the platform, you simply click on awards, click on show awards. And there's a couple more ways in which you can go about this. You can click on the box over here which says last submitted, which will show you whether they have submitted their submission period or not. You can also change the columns over here to acquire a little bit more of information as to how they have submitted or not. So you can take a look at the submission period. You can take a look at when did the PI last access the platform. So in this case, we've got a couple of people that have accessed the platform very recently or not that very recently. Whether they have accepted the invitation or not, whether how many invites have been sent to them, submission deadline, etc., etc. One thing you can also do is to add a search term to the filter. So if you wish to check on the submission period, let's do the indefinite one. And then let's add the ones that submission status is not submitted. Once you're selected the filters, you can click on show awards. And then it will show you those 2 awards that have been added to the indefinite submission period and that have not submitted yet, for which you can basically send a reminder to them either by contacting them directly or sending a platform reminder for them to comply. One thing that you can do is you can save this search. So search 1. So whenever you come back to the word stuff, if you click on save searches, it will automatically populate those 2 search boxes for you. And then if you click on show awards, you'll be able to look at whether they have submitted or not. And it will give you that information that you're looking for. So this is potentially the second way in which you can do this. The third way to check on compliance, which will also lead us to the last bit of the submission period lifecycle, is by doing a data export of the awards. So if you click on submission period and you select the most recently submitted, or if you select the submission period which you would like to observe, you'll be able to look at the information there. But for the purpose of this action right here, we're just going to click on most recently submitted. We're going to stick with award details, and we're going to download the export. So what this will do is essentially it will give you a document that is very similar to the RHC that we looked at before, with the exception that it will provide a little bit more information as to when not only the PI last accessed, but also when whether they submitted. So in this particular case, and that specific version of the RHC won't have this row over here, but as you can see here, you got the most recent submission period enter, which you can see that we got a couple here. Submission period start date, submission period end date, and then here you can see if when did they last submit and whether they have submitted in the most recent submission period, so that you can see that none of the awards here have submitted. In the case of this download, because I anonymized the data and I deleted all of the identifiable information here. One of the things that you could do is basically filter down this information and just look at who are the PIs who haven't submitted and reach out to them just to make sure that they comply with their submission. Have we got any questions so far? Just gonna go check the chat. Looks like we don't have any questions so far at the moment. So all good now. Right, let me minimize this. And yeah, as you can see here, there is a little notification circle letting you know that the download has already been done. So that is pretty much it for the compliance tracking bit of the submission period. So once the submission period is over and the award holders have finished their submissions and they've already let you know about what information has been attributed, which by the way, this reminded me of a very important bit that I would like to share with you. I'm just going to go back to the activity tab. The reason why I also made the distinction between attribution and submission is because it has happened in the past in which PIs believe that just by doing the attributions, they've done everything that needed to be done. It's very important to remind them that they also need to submit. And one thing that I would like to note is that having nothing to report is much more valuable than a non-submission. So the difference here basically is that a non-submission is a PI that didn't comply with the submission period and decided not to submit the report, compared to having nothing to report, which could be that because of the type of research that they're conducting, no impact has already emanated from the research that they have conducted. It's better for them to report the fact that they have nothing to report, which hopefully that makes sense, rather than not submitting. Not only because that would affect the compliance rate for the for your organization, but which has nothing, which has no particular implications, but it just means that you won't necessarily be getting that data from your researchers, which might also be helpful to understand why they have nothing to report and basically to perform those analysis. Right. Right. So yes, going back to the last bit of the submission period lifecycle, which is at the very end, or after the submission period has finished, is to do the data exports and the analysis that you may wish to perform. So there's two ways to go about this: by going into the reports tab or going into the export tab as well. So I'm just going to do the reports tab first. So in the reports tab, we got some system-generated reports with visuals, such as charts and some descriptive information about the information that has been input by researchers and their awards into Researchfish, which you can access by clicking on the desired outcome type. So let's do publications for now. And like I said, it will provide with a couple of summary tables, which already include some guidance as to what information you're looking at. So yeah, from the get-go, you can start looking at some of the charts that we got available here and at the tables that we got, such as time to report, first publication by award year, the number of publications per award, et cetera, which might be some useful information for you after the submission period to analyze. A couple of things that you can do here is you can do some comparisons between research organizations or reporting notes, which reporting notes are essentially it is the it has the same logic as a category, with the distinction that notes are set up by are also set up by research organizations, and what they do is that they control the level of access that they will have to the award information that is in Researchfish. So if anyone that belongs to a specific node, they would only be able to look at the awards that have been added to that specific node, compared to someone who, for example, has access to all of the award information. If you wish to take a look at this data, not on the front end, but if you like to download it and manipulate it a little bit more, you're able to download the section on a Word document, download this section on an Excel document, or you can do a complete download of the of all of the reports that we have available in the reports tab over here. Right. So that is pretty much it for the reports tab. And the other way in which you can do this is by going to the export tab. And then you can decide the export type that you want to do. So if you want to take a look again, let's do publications. You'll be able to select how much detail you want to have from the publications that have been reported. So we usually advise going with entries with award details and funder/research organization specific categories or notes. Basically because it will give you the most amount of information specifically related to an award. But if you know that there aren't any specific categories or notes, you can go with entries with award details. But if you don't want to have any award details because you just want to look at the publication data that has been input without taking a look at, say, who reported the specific publication or any other of the outcome types for that matter, you'll be clicking on entries without any award details. The only risk with doing this is that if, let's say, you have two different PIs that worked on a publication together, that specific publication will show up twice because of the either pub ID or the DOI, et cetera, et cetera. So you'll be looking at information that will look like there is a duplicate in the information. So you have to do a little bit more of data handling when working with that specific data just to get rid of those duplicates, so to speak. But if you download it with the entries with award details, you'll be able to look at, for example, those two PIs who attributed the same publication to their two different awards, which means that there was some level or some sort of collaboration with them. And once you're done, if you wish to filter them by institutions as well, so let's do again the word university, you'll be able to pick whether you want to look at the information that has been input by a specific organization or an institute, and then you just have to click on the download export. So I think that's pretty much it in terms of the submission period life cycle. One of the things that I did say that I was gonna show, and now I'm just remembering, is the active submission period. So if you click on compose email, here you'll be able to look at the default template that we got, but if you wish to manipulate this in order to remind your PIs that they need to make a submission to you, simply click on send, or if you wish to edit the template, you're able to do so just by clicking here. And if you wish to use any other templates that we got, simply have to click on email templates over here, sorry. And if you click on add new email template, you'll be able to create the name of the template and basically say or type in what you want to be included in the body of that template. And then you can click here the tokens so that you can insert into the field that you've last clicked. Simply click save on template and then use it accordingly to reach out to your PIs if you wish to do so from the platform. Just trying to think. Yeah, one last thing that I need to just show you now before we move on to the last bit, which is essentially any questions that you might have, is the knowledge base and the help page. So the knowledge base is where all our documentation sits. Within Researchfish, there's two different ways to access it. So through the knowledge base, if you click on documentation, it'll take you to our support page, which is help.researchfish.com, which is publicly accessible. And in here, all of the documentation is available to funders, researchers, research organizations, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say this is basically your go-to for any specific queries that you might have and that you might wish to address yourselves if you do not wish to contact Researchfish support or your customer success manager for that matter. But if there's anything that you can't seem to troubleshoot yourself, you can come to the help page over here, click on this link over here where it says contact us, in which you'll be able to either raise a support ticket, contact support through live chat, or send an email to our support channel. Or otherwise, like I've said, feel free obviously to reach out to your customer success manager, who will be able to provide assistance on that. Right, so I will stop sharing my screen now. And that basically is everything in terms of navigating the platform. So I'm just gonna check on the chat if there are any questions. Looks like they're not. But obviously feel free right now to ask any questions that you might have about the use of the platform, or if you would like me to go back and show you anything, I'm also more than happy to do that. So do we have any questions at this point in time? Does anyone need any, or does anyone need me to go back to any of the specific bits that I've showed today? It looks like that isn't the case. Well, in that case, thank you so much, everyone, for having joined today's session. I hope you found it the refresher useful and helpful. I'm glad that you did find it helpful and useful. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot an email to us. I'll make sure that you get a copy of this webinar, and also to reach that you'll be sharing. That you'll be receiving, and I'll be sharing the support resources. So Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye now.